What is going on, YouTube people? New York Cards and Comics here for a little mid-afternoon Monday live stream. Holiday. I'm off work today. Didn't post a video this morning. Have some gem rate data breakdown. It's already recorded, ready to rock and roll. Put that up tomorrow. I figured just pop on, go live for a little bit. Not sure how long we'll go. Not sure how many people will get in the chat with this being middle of the day on a holiday. A lot of people might be out doing stuff. I know in Ohio, anyways, it is hot as hell out today. It is like 90 some degrees. I got up first thing this morning, cut the grass before it got super hot out. It is wild. Only main topic I really have is I'll recap the ship show off the top here, and then we'll kind of see where chat wants to go. Obviously, there's a lot of nonsense going on right now in the wonderful world of sports cards, but when isn't there? Football starts this week. Fantasy football starts this week. I have one draft left. It is tonight. It is the league I have been in the longest. I joined this league in 1999, I think. It was so old. The league is so old that when we first started, it was a work league. The league got scored on paper, and we got reports printed out and put in our mailboxes at work every Tuesday morning. That's how you knew if you won or lost your game. The league commissioner would score the games on Monday night and then print out a report and put it in everyone's work mailbox on Tuesday. And to submit waiver claims, you literally had to fill out a piece of paper and stick them in the inbox, this guy's inbox at the office, prior to, like, there was no Thursday games back then, prior to like Thursday or something, to give him time, and then he would print a report to let you know who won who on waivers, so you could submit your lineup. Waiver lineups had to be submitted by pen and paper. So I've been playing fantasy for a while, but I now run that league, and the draft is tonight. That's an auction draft. Pretty deep league, offensive flex, 2 tight end, 3 wide receivers, whole 9 yards. It goes pretty crazy these days. It used to be forever we drafted in person. We drafted in person all the way up until COVID, and then since COVID, we shifted to completely online. And once we went online, I made it an auction draft instead of a regular snake draft. So, but that league is fun. What is up, Collector's Dream? What is up, Cranky Card Guy? So, this past weekend, I was at the Shipshewana show out in Indiana. Did not really make any pickups. I grabbed 2 boxes of Obsidian Flames for $100 each. That seemed like a pretty solid deal. Those will get stashed away in the Pokemon stash behind me. Didn't buy any individual cards. Show was busy. I don't know where it ended up ranking at in regards to attendance, but I could tell right off the get at trade night on Saturday night that the show was really busy. Made one deal at trade night, sold a card. I had a Cade Cunningham Optic Hollow I sold for like $100 and some bucks, $100, $110. I was into that card for like 60 or 70. I had traded for it at a previous Shipshewana show, actually, like 2 or 3 shows ago. So move that. Beyond that and the Obsidian Flame boosters, that was about it. But I could tell that it was going to be a busy show because trade night was really busy. It actually felt like one of the busier trade nights I've seen at that show, just with the amount of people walking around. And then the show felt just as busy as always on Sunday. So from a show perspective, attendance seemed great. I talked to some dealers. They said they had pretty solid shows. Pricing was about what you would expect. There's a lot of people that are on point with their pricing, and there are a lot of people that are not on point with their pricing. That's any show, really. Be curious if anyone in chat was at Burbank. I have not heard a lot of Burbank buzz. And I don't mean that in a good or bad way. I saw photos and reels shared online, and it looked like it was very busy. There was a very long line. Anytime I saw images, it seemed like there was a lot of people there, but I just really haven't heard much in the way of buzz from that show. So if anyone attended Burbank, feel free to fire it in the comments down below. What's up, Michael Ham? What's up, Peeps? What's up, PMW? Xenia show was not very busy, probably because everyone was at Ships. Most likely, I would agree with that, JM. Or JMI, rather. Scheduling Xenia and Ships for the same weekend seems like a mistake for Xenia. just from an attendance and dealer perspective. I know I would imagine a lot of their good dealers went to Ships instead of Xenia, and then anyone looking to go to a big card show probably just made the trip to Ships. I think that's probably about a 4-hour drive from Xenia, if I had to guess, maybe a little bit further. I think Columbus is about dead on 4 hours to Ships. That's what it is for me from Canton. So yeah, I'm sure Ships really hurt the Xenia show. Basketball card nerd, what is going on, buddy? Next Philly show for me at the end of September. My next big show will be New York City Comic-Con in October. I do not have any larger card shows on the docket between now and the end of the year, but I am 1,000% locked in for New York City Comic-Con. Though I usually don't go to that to buy. I'm usually not there looking to buy, CGC slabbed comics or anything like that. I'm not saying that I wouldn't, but I go there more for the pomp and circumstance. I'm sure I'll buy some, NYCC exclusive T-shirts or some con exclusive stuff. Maybe do some signings, that sort of stuff. I'm usually not there to buy comics. And part of the reason, honestly, is though I could probably pull it off a little bit easier. We're staying pretty close to the venue this time. Is I just don't want to haul the stuff around. Usually, once we leave the hotel room in the morning, we're gone until late at night, because we're going to the show a little bit and then bop around the city in the afternoon and evening. And I just don't want to haul around like $1,000 CGC slab in a backpack through New York City for 12 hours. So, but if I run into something good, I can always run it back to the room. I remember last year when we went, I didn't even really look at dealer tables that much. Fort Lauderdale show was pretty busy. Happy Labor Day to everybody as well. What's up, Telugu? Hey, Steven, what's up? You should have went to Ships, buddy. You go to the Cleveland show on Saturday? I think there was a show in Cleveland on Saturday. Football, as always, this time of year. I saw a lot of Jason Dominguez cards out on tables. I don't know if they were moving or not. There is still like a little bit of a low-key basketball buzz floating around where people are like on the edges poking around basketball for sure. Will Comc start accepting Lorcana cards? I didn't realize that they weren't, to be honest with you. I'd be surprised if they did not. I could verify that tomorrow. I could reach out to them and see if they have plans to. I wouldn't see why they wouldn't. A lot of empty tables at Xenia. Yeah, I've been to that show once. I went like 2 years ago to the September show. Had a good time. It's just a far drive for me, man. That's like, I think Xenia is a good 3 hours for me to get to that show. And it was a good time when I went. It's just, that's rough. Especially because I don't want to get up and drive down the night before. So then I have to get up super early in the morning. It just makes for a long day. If I was already down there for something else. Is there a backlog brewing at PSA, or are we just imagining it? There is, in regards to, it's a very, I actually talk about this in tomorrow's Gem Rates video. It is a very narrow backlog. And what I mean by that is it's in one specific area and it's only affecting one specific type of order. So essentially, value orders and specials are backlogged on receiving. So they are backlogged checking orders in 2 to 3 weeks, is what I have been told. And I was told that directly from the president of PSA. So I feel pretty confident in that statement because we DM'd each other, and that is directly from the mouth president of PSA that they are 2 to 3 weeks behind checking in orders. This was about a week ago, to be fair, though I can't imagine it's gotten a ton better. I don't know what happened with my value order. I no idea on that one. I don't know if it's because I sent it with reholder stuff or not, but my value order got checked in within a day. It got there on like a Monday, and by Tuesday it was already in research and ID, and that order is already in grading. Excuse me. The only thing I can think of is I had a value order boxed with a reholder order shipped in the same box. Maybe because of the reholder order, they opened it right away. I don't know. I really don't know. Maybe I just got lucky. Who knows? But my value order is already in grading, and I have I know people that ship things weeks before mine that are still waiting for the order to get checked in. So I'll take it. I'm not going to complain about it. We'll see how the grades come out. My reholder, boy, is that tough to say. My reholder order is already in assembly, and my value order is already in grading. But I've heard reholder orders sit in assembly for like weeks on end. That was just like that 10 card Manny Ramirez lot. So we'll see how that goes. Okay, that's fair. That's fair. What do I think of Lorcana fakes? I mean, I did that video last week on it. I think the ultimate issue goes with I don't think that the company put enough anti-fraud stuff built into the cards, and I think the cards are going to be easy to fake for people. So it's going to have to be a little bit of a buyer beware, and I think the grading companies are going to have to step their game up a little bit on that one. I've heard a lot of people talking up Collecticon in Charlotte. I think that's in a week or two, if my memory is correct. I was asked by a lot of people if I was going to that. My understanding is that it's very Pokemon focused, and Pokemon. I dabble in sealed wax. That's about it. I'm sure there's a lot of other TCG there, but if I didn't have New York City Comic Con coming, maybe I would consider it. I was talking to my wife. We may look at going to. We've done New York City Comic Con 2 years in a row now. I may consider going to Dragon Con next year and skipping NYCC. I've heard good things about that. That's in Atlanta. It was actually this weekend. It's going on right now, I believe. Never been, but heard good things. So if anyone's ever attended Dragon Con, feel free to throw that in the comments down below. Been in research since August 23rd. Yeah, mine moved through research and ID fast. That order is, when did that order arrive? Just trying to pull it up to see if it shows. My order is moving. That order arrived on August 23rd. It was entered August 25th and is already in grading and has been in grading since midweek last week. Bulk order from early June. It's been stuck in QA1 for about a month. That's a long time for QA1. That's interesting. Another order in QA1. Interesting. Thoughts on ending football auctions during the game or next day during primetime games? It's massive risk reward. If things go the right way, you could probably set the new high comp for the card. If things don't go your way, it could get ugly real quick. So it's just super risky. The other problem too is that if something crazy happens one way or the other, someone will just not pay or cancel the order or whatever. So there's always that risk built into that as well. So no movement on my order. What stage is it in, David? Is that it hasn't even been checked in yet, or ships was good, busy. I didn't make a ton of pickups, but ships was busy, super busy. Yeah, I don't know. I'm pretty diligent about making sure that barcode's on there. I like that they moved to that system. In the past, it was so stupid. You used to have to write with Sharpie what the value of your order, not the value, but like what tier your order was. That had to be a nightmare for people checking in, trying to see that. I mean, I had DM'd him a specific question, and probably the only reason I got through the noise is because I believe he already followed me on Twitter. So I had a question. I was looking for information on something for a potential video. So he replied to that and then also threw that information in there. This is the ultimate question right now for anyone that bought Lorcana boxes. I took my 2 with me to ships. I had them out at trade night for 300 a pop. I got a million questions on them, but no one wanted to pull the trigger. They're moving online at 300 plus pretty easily. I thought prices would dip a little bit with the release, like the official release this week, but one, demand just continues to be absolutely insane. The other thing that has kind of happened too is a lot of the big box retailers, when they put them out, they rip the boxes open because they're designed to be packed out. So they're not putting sealed boxes, booster boxes anyway, on the shelf. And booster boxes is what everybody wants. So all those boxes that were set for retail got ripped open. So the premium on sealed booster boxes is getting even more juiced. And stores are not supposed to get more until I think it's October. That's a month at least. And then the second print doesn't hit till Q1 next year. So I don't know what's going to happen. I was kind of sad I didn't sell mine at Ships, but in hindsight, it might work out in the long run. So I'm just gonna free roll it and see what happens. I'm gonna let it ride for about a week and see how prices go. TCG player boxes are selling regularly at 350 to 375. Like it's absolutely crazy right now. So mm, uh, how was the Burbank show, State 48? And there's a lot of comments about QA1 seeing to be the place that orders die. I haven't seen one. I've honestly not been following this super close. I've had couple people DM me asking about this, but I've just been so caught up in all the other nonsense going on that I think this is kind of actually sliding under the radar a little bit. Hal, Pickett, or Ritter? From a fantasy perspective, how? I don't know their individual pricing off the top of my head from a card perspective. It would be really hard for me ever to say pick a Steeler as well. Which $15 category are you thinking of? Isn't I thought $15 was TCG. I just think Hal has the most talent of the three. I like his rushing ability. I've been trying to decide between CGC, PSA, and SGC. Is the premium amount for PSA worth turnaround time? I've got vintage sports cards and comic cards. Depending on the vintage, you could send vintage to SGC. SGC does really well in vintage cards. Comic cards, it really just depends what you got. But yeah, PSA, you're going to maximize your return. If it's older stuff, it's not like you're getting first to market advantage for the speed. So I would be more likely to lean PSA if the price gap on comps is that different. But vintage, you can 100% look at SGC. Burbank was crazy busy. Okay, I was talking earlier. You might not have been in the chat yet. It just feels like I'm not hearing a lot of buzz about that. Like I'm seeing tons of pictures and videos on IG, but just in regards to like how pricing was stuff actually selling, were dealers having good shows, like that kind of stuff. I haven't seen anything. Pickett definitely is in the toughest division by far. Even though I'm a little sketch on the Browns this year, the AFC North is there's not like an absolute garbage fire, dumpster fire team in the AFC North. Everyone is at least every AFC North game is at least going to be like competitive, in my opinion. Main room was just us dealers and the breakers and sponsors were downstairs from lower side of it. Oh, that's kind of nice. I kind of like the idea of all the dealers are in one spot and then all the other nonsense is somewhere else. And then you can kind of head whatever way you want to head, depending on what you're looking to do. So it sounds like you were a dealer. How did the show go for you, State 48? No problem, PNW. Burbank was great, but frustrating as well. Dealers seemed unfriendly and kind of over it. Frustrating that so many dealers don't price cards and then their prices are over comps. When you say kind of over it, what do you mean, Ryan? I strongly dislike when dealers don't have cards priced. I get that it's hard to keep up with, but I hate walking up to a table and having to ask what your price is on every single individual card. It was your best show in the last year. All right, well there you go. I believe SGC's running it like a week or two. I know that they were getting a little bit slow for like a hot minute, and slow in SGC standards means like 10 days instead of 5 days. But I thought they got that cleared up. You could check if you're ever curious on grading turnaround times. There is a forum thread on Blowout for each of the major grading companies where people will post what their current orders are running at. So you could go look at that and see. There's a thread on BGS, SGC, CGC, PSA, and people will just post like their check-in date and when they got their cards back. That's what I usually glance at the most, and then I'll ask for viewer feedback. Obviously, if anyone in chat has a recent SGC turnaround time, feel free to fire it in there. I'm sure someone in the live has sent something recently. I like that idea as well, Ryan. I will echo. Not having been at the show, but in my mind, I like the concept of that. Yeah, SGC once again. Gem rate data tomorrow. That video is already recorded. I was gonna put it up today, and I was like, I'll just save it for tomorrow, and then I don't have to record anything tonight because I have a fantasy football draft tonight. Hence why I decided I'll just pop on and do a live for a little bit. But yeah, PSA is just really all the grading companies. Yeah, PSA put out a monster number, but all the grading companies had huge months in August, like absolutely massive. In fact, August set a record for number of cards graded in a month across the board. So August was an absolutely massive month for card grading. I saw that video last night. I watched that the Jeff Wilson PSA 10 and 9 video. Yeah, it just adds an extra level of frustration. I agree, David. Do you think Ellie Tops now will still be desirable after the season ends? I think it'll have some juice until he gets an actual rookie product. But if he's not, if they don't make the playoffs, or his hype kind of dies off a little bit, it could affect things. I know I have a lot of Ellie Tops now at PSA via Comc. Yeah, that was definitely amusing. I mean, I'll be honest. I don't think I've ever went through with a transaction, but there's definitely been a time where I accidentally typed something in wrong and glanced at it and thought that's what it was, and then realized that later that I had completely the wrong price in my mind on what a card should be. So, like, I think we've all probably done that to some degree or another. Ooh, Emerald City Comic Con. I would love to get out there one day. It's just West Coast travel is tricky. Oh, okay, yeah, I know exactly who you're talking about. We've chatted at the last 2 or 3 ship shows at trade night, and I always stop at his table. He always flies in from California. I remember the Blizzard show he was at. He got stranded in a Taco Bell parking lot. He got stuck. Mm, 7 to 10 days at 12 days, and it's in assemblies. I assume that's business days, Stephen. I know you're smart enough to calculate the business days. I think the front end scanning and back end scanning have definitely slowed things there. And it's hard to say things are slow. They just graded like 1.2 million cards or something crazy. So am I ever gonna rip a Pokemon box? I don't know. Maybe one day, just for the memes. I would have literally no idea what I was looking at. Like, none. We actually talked about it a little bit earlier in this live, John. Someone asked questions about box pricing, but just to recap quickly, yes, it does seem like the general release this weekend was a lot smaller than what people were thinking, and I think the problem is compounded by the fact that sealed booster boxes are ripped open before they hit the store shelves because they're designed to be packed out. So I feel like sealed booster boxes are going to be bricks of gold potentially, at least in the short term. Now, keep in mind this the scary part here is they could just keep printing this thing. It's not like sports cards. TCGs, they could print it as much as they want. But there's going to be pockets of artificial scarcity where, now until mid-October, we don't really have any more supply hitting the market. From October till the beginning of next year, we don't really have any more supply hitting the market. Do they print a third wave? How big is the second wave printing? There's a lot of unknowns. So from a let me buy cases and sit on it for life type situation, or for years, kind of like I do with Pokemon, I think that has some risk to it. Keeping some boxes laying around for the next 30, 60, 90 days and kind of keeping tabs on how things are going, that's a little bit of a different story. I can see booster box prices getting a little silly in the short term, but I would worry about those prices in the long term. Kind of where I'm at on it. Like, I have two sealed boxes. If I sold them at Chips for 300 a pop, I would have been fine with it. They did not sell, so I'm probably just going to ride them out. I'm into them for 150 bucks. I don't see them crashing back to 150 anytime soon, if ever. So I'm going to ride it out I'm going to kind of play it week by week and just see what happens. Yeah, anytime travel's involved with flights, it just gets tricky. I've had a lot, the wife and I a couple of years ago had a Disney vacation canceled because the flight got canceled the night before we were supposed to leave. That's why, generally speaking, yeah, it's a little bit more inconvenient. Personally, I don't mind flying. I don't hate it. I just hate the annoyance of flight cancellations and that sort of stuff, especially when you're going somewhere for a limited number of days. And if you lose a day or two to travel, you're just kind of screwed. So that's why I generally prefer to drive most places. I drive the 6 hours to the National. We're going to New York City Comic Con. We're driving. That's an 8 hour drive. If I went to Dragon Con, we would probably consider driving. Though Atlanta, I might lean more towards flying. If the National was in Atlanta, I would honestly probably drive. I forget what Atlanta is. I think it's like 8 hours, 10 hours to Atlanta from here. When we ended up rescheduling our Disney vacation, we drove because we got burned on flying. And actually, when we ran the numbers, it was cheaper to drive than to fly, even with the extra day on the front end and the back end. So, plus, I hate hauling cards and comics and all that stuff on flights. I don't know the answer to this question yet. Which is faster when getting your cards graded back from Comc or from home? Does PSA or CGC where it's shipped from, or does that matter? These are questions I do not know the answers to. I have cards in what I assume was one of the first Comc orders to go out at the value level. I have, I think, 4 or 5 cards in that order. The only downside to Comc, which they're well aware of this, and it's something that they're hopefully working on, is you don't know, like, your cards are kind of in a black box. They just go out into the ether and you just know that they're submitted. You have no idea what stage they're on. So the reason why I say I'm in the first batch was because I literally did that the day that it went live, because I recorded the video for them on it. So I submitted cards to PSA literally the day that it went live. That was July. I think I'm exactly 1 month on that order, or a little over a month. I think that was late July. It was right before the National. It's exactly when it was. It was right before the National when they announced that. So I'm probably at 6 weeks with that order, give or take. And I think it was a 12-week turnaround time because they built some extra time into it. So I don't really know yet. I'll have a better idea once I get those cards back and see how many days it is. Generally speaking, it's going to be faster if you send them yourself, I would assume. I don't know if they give their big bulk submitters preferential treatment when orders come in. Do I have any desire to be a dealer at a local show sometime in the future? I've considered it. I just don't have a ton of inventory. So, especially like dollar box stuff and things like that, I just don't have a lot of that stuff. So that would make it a little bit tricky. Do I think Deshaun? I think Deshaun will be fine this year. I don't know that he's going to be like what he once was, but I'm hoping he's not complete garbage either. The only pickups that I made were 2 booster boxes of Obsidian Flames for $100 a piece from the dealer that was set up outside. He had the best price by far, so I snagged 2 of those on the way out the door, and a bacon cheeseburger from the food truck, barbecue bacon cheeseburger. How did you get pulled into being on-off senator? Are you officially in charge of the chat? I mean, I've known Dustin and Steve for years now, so they asked me if I wanted to become a formal member, and I said yes. It'll be nice to have a structured, not a structured, but like a formalized live stream every couple weeks. I like doing them. It's just always kind of like whenever I want to raise the flag. And I don't want any part of chat. I want Dustin to run chat because of the memes. Dustin's full-time chat duty. It's comical how he cannot manage to keep up on chat. Like I'm about 5 minutes behind on chat right now, and I feel perfectly fine. Why does Dustin wear mascara on your live chats? I was able to snag a box of pulled and enchanted cards. Seems like they are harder to pull than initially thought. The rumor is 1 in 2 or 3 boxes. So, what's your opinion on the Lorcana buzz? I don't. Has anyone actually played the game? Is the game good? Do we know? I should try playing it. I have all those cards, but I don't have a starter deck. I actually have no idea how to play. I'm not like the biggest Disney person in the world, so I don't have like a huge attachment to the cards or the characters themselves. The artwork's really good on them. Like some of the artwork's really great. I will give them that. I wish the cold foils looked a little nicer. Not a problem. Talk about that tomorrow in tomorrow's video. Do you think comics are a safer bet than sports cards? Safer. This is, well, it depends. The way I approach comics and the way I approach sports cards, comics are a safer bet for me. What do I mean by that? Sports cards, I tend to skew more modern. Comics, I tend to skew more vintage, golden, or not. I don't really get in the golden age, but silver age, bronze age, copper age. I completely stay away from modern comic books. So I think silver age keys are pretty safe, or as safe as anything can be in the collectible space. But if someone came in here and said, I only collect vintage sports cards, that's a little bit of a different conversation. So it really depends on how you're approaching each individual market. Generally speaking, I feel better about spending money in comics than sports cards 9 times out of 10, but that's me. How are Marvel Masterpiece prices holding up? Sealed boxes are still floating between 800 and 900. Singles prices are trending down, but that's to be expected as the product releases and more of it is ripped. I've done quite well on that product overall. I'll probably do a financial breakdown video at some point in time, but I still actually have a bunch of cards to sell. I have more stuff I probably should send in the Comc. I still have the Spider-Man card. I'm still trying to figure out what I want to do with that bad boy. That's the out of 25 that I hit in that video. So, but sealed box prices are still holding pretty strong. I saw some auctions ending around 800-900. I think there's still 900 on Dave and Adams. Yeah, there's still 900 on Dave and Adams. So that's kind of the ceiling price. Maybe, I don't know. I haven't read any of that or even looked into any of it. I, generally speaking, stay away from modern comics as much as possible. Hopefully the barbecue. They have a legit. There's a food truck there that has a really good barbecue bacon cheeseburger. It's a party on the patio. I think it's always at the ship show. Yeah, Richard. I kind of talked about this in the video last week in regards to just kind of being whatever on modern sports cards. For me, the thing that keeps it fresh is when I kind of get meh on one thing, I just pivot to one of the other things because I'm in sports cards, I'm in Marvel cards, I'm in comic books. So if one kind of starts to get on my nerves or I kind of feel myself getting worn out, I just kind of transition a little bit and look into one of the other spots. And then usually between the three of those things, one of them will scratch an itch for me to kind of dive into. And then I'll kind of slide the other two to the side for a period of time. So my recommendation would be is maybe look for other areas that are hobby associated. You know, like if you're a sports card collector, maybe look to see if there's some non-sports cards that you like, or a TCG that you like, or comics, or something like that. So you kind of have something to pivot to. I think that's also part of the reason why I have been able to stay semi-sane doing nearly daily content for the last 3 years, is because when I get sick of talking about sports cards, I could just sit down and make a TCG video or a comic book video or a non-sports card video or whatever. And I could kind of go on a little kick with that for like sprinkle those in here and there to kind of mix things up so I'm not constantly basically talking and looking at the same things over and over and over and over and over and over again. Hi, Chris. Yeah, 100% Rich. It's very individual person specific. I don't know. I don't grade CGC comics. I already buy already graded, so I have no idea what CGC turnaround times are. I buy already slabbed, so I rarely buy raw comics. I don't know how much Disney has control over the printing. That's the thing. I mean, Ravensburger is the company making it, not Disney. They're just licensing it from Disney. So I'm not sure. I mean, Disney obviously has a lot of say in it, but it's not like Disney's running the printing presses. Yeah, it definitely seems like they're using that full 60-day turnaround time. So, hey, what's up, Gene? Gene was set up at the ship show. He moved a lot of Lorcana at Shipshewana. Lot of Lorcana talk today, Gene. Hey, there we go. First eBay sale. Popping that. Pop it. I am so sketch cards are the one thing that I am just completely out of my depth on. Usually about 2 weeks, I think, give or take. It says on there when you buy them, Joel. It literally says right on the thing. I think it's like 7 to 10 days to process and print the cards, and then they ship them. Yeah, that's a wild one. The flipping Steve Beckett thing. I've always wanted to get to a Chantilly show, but it's not going to happen in October because I'm at New York City Comic Con in October. So, but Chantilly is one of the shows that's always been on my list in regards to I would like to get to that show and just have not been able to make it happen. I have not used the eBay vault. I would now at least consider using the eBay vault that they finally fixed the title listing thingamajigger. Wayne Gretzky rookie coming. Sheesh. I did not move the pink Spidey yet. I literally just showed it on stream a minute ago. Sitting right here at my desk. William Fonda says, my son wants to know your favorite cards, sports and TCG or Marvel or Star Wars. Like the favorite card that I own or my favorite one of the three to collect? My favorite card that I own, period, full stop, is probably this one. Favorite card that I own is probably this one. It's tough to beat the Harrison Ford on-card auto as Han Solo. I mean, that's probably my favorite one. I haven't really. I do my. I was thinking about this the other day. My Star Wars auto collection is actually getting pretty crazy now. Are we not going to get ads every 20 seconds like Sports Card Dad? No. They will be the official sponsor of the weekly sports card market update on Sunday, so you will hear about Comc in that video. And then I'll probably do one other, or not probably, I will do one other Comc at minimum, one other Comc related video per month. Not exactly sure. It's up to me on kind of how I want to do it. So that will be a revolving style video. I don't know what it'll be. It'll just kind of be whatever, what I've been doing the last month on there, or just some Comc chat. So hanging on to any hope for the Guardians. That seems like a long shot. Their offense is terrible. I see we are the big we're the Angels East now with all the free agent pickups. Big CC2 trade out on September 30th. Are you planning on being there? It is on my radar. I will more likely be there than not be there. I typically try to go to as many of those trade nights as I can. The fact that it's on the Saturday makes it probably a little more likely that I would be there, because the wife and I could go down for the day and do some stuff, and then we'll probably spend the night. I usually don't do that for a CC2 trade night, but if she goes with me, she would go shopping and I would go to trade night. So we'll see. Hey, Red Light, welcome. I mean, I've done videos for Comc a few times now as like one-offs. So we've kind of had some back-end conversations for a while. A couple of the guys over there watched my content, prior to us having any sort of relationship or anything like that. I think the first thing I did for Comc was the CGC video. They had reached out to me about, they basically sponsored like a one-off video. And it was the CGC stuff once they did the direct grading with CGC. I think that's what it was. I think that was the first one I did for them. And then we kind of always said, like, if things work well, let's potentially hook something up longer term. And at the time, I'd used Comc some, but not a ton. And part of it was me, because I basically said, let me use you, like, let me put this through its paces over the next couple months, and we kept doing like a random one-off thing here and there, and then after the national, formalized something a little bit more official for the next few months. Top 5 Grail chases. X-Men 1. That's number 1. Mark Hamill, Carrie Fisher, Star Wars Stellar autos. That's 2 and 3. Those will be pricey. Those are probably the top 3 at the moment. The other 2 would be too, like, revolving door. I would really like, and this is just recency bias, I would really like a Ghost Spider or Spider-Gwen autograph card from the new Marvel Masterpieces set. I passed on one I could have got one for $2,500 the other day. I'm going to play patient with that, and hopefully they get a little bit cheaper once people rip a bunch of stuff on ePack. My plan is spoilers for an upcoming video. My plan is with my Comc stuff is to kind of build up the war chest on Comc and then use that money to chase Marvel Masterpieces singles that I want once that hits EPAC. So assuming it has a couple months until that happens, I have a few months to kind of build up the war chest over there, and then I'm ready to rock and roll. So essentially my plan is to turn all the random stuff that I send in the Comc into maybe 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or whatever Marvel cards, like bigger Marvel cards that I really want, and then also use that to fill out my Masterpieces set. Because those cards will be, a few bucks on Comc for base cards. So that's kind of my general plan. I am not big on the whole alpha omega thing. I give it 0 premium, but a lot of people in the Marvel card space really do it. That's essentially for non-sports cards, the alpha omega thing is kind of like jersey number. So that's kind of like their jersey number. So I get it. But me personally, I would not pay more for an alpha or omega. So, I mean, that being said, when I go to move this one, I'm going to charge a premium for the alpha because I am in the minority on that viewpoint. So, is what it is. Thanks, Gene. Do you know anyone that will be willing to sell 2020 Masterpieces singles at New York City Comic Con? Off the top of my head, I do not. Please tell me you don't have any bad news about Beckett. No, I have no news on Beckett. That's pretty much the chat, as I literally have no news on Beckett. I mean, really anything. Their niche is the lower end of stuff, but you can put anything on there because remember, they cross post to eBay. So if you put something higher end on there, it just ends up on eBay anyway. So it's not like you're really limited in regards to number of eyeballs. And you could always send it to auction through eBay as well if you want to. So I am personally, I think personally, I'm using it for $1 to $15 stuff. But you can 100% move bigger stuff on there. Marvel has a lot of high end stuff on there, and so does hockey because of the EPAC tie-in. Comics, probably. I would say, Gene. I have more money into comics than anything else. By a pretty decent margin. Well, Wax is getting up there, but I already ripped Lorcana. You can go back and look, Dave. I ripped a box of Lorcana about a week or 2 ago. It's on the channel. I forget what day that went up. I could tell you real quick. August 19th. If you scroll back through the video history, I ripped the box of Lorcana. Had a pretty good hit out of it, too. I mean, I think a lot of people already do. Even if it's not like in the comic vein. I mean, like look at Flipping Steve and like Ryan from Breakout Cards. They collect a lot of music cards. A lot of people collect pop culture stuff, actor autos, that sort of stuff. You walk show floors now, you see a lot more of that stuff sprinkled in, and a lot more people more interested in that stuff. So I think it's already happened. Comics, that's a little bit different. You kind of got to be in that mindset, and you got to kind of want it. But non-sports cards, and that's a very wide gamut that goes. When I say non-sports, I always lean towards Marvel first, but it could literally be anything. There's a billion different types of non-sports cards. But I think you're seeing more and more people dabble in non-sports cards or picking up cards from a show that they really liked or an actor that they really liked. I think you're seeing more and more of that every single day, honestly. I do not. Nothing crazy. Nothing crazy. Oh, Anthony with the super chat. What's up, Anthony? Picked up some Anthony Richardson Leaf Metal Draft Football 2022 autos last summer, and they have gone nuts since then. Buy, sell, or hold. If you picked up a bunch or picked up some, so I assume you have multiples, I would sell off some of them personally. That's just me. If you're making good profit on it, Anthony Richardson does not have an autographed exclusive deal, so he will be in Panini product. So keep that in mind. I would look to move a couple of those and at least cover your costs. And then if you want a free roll run into the season in case he goes bonkers, go for it. But I am also not a big Anthony Richardson believer from a real life football perspective. So I'm coming at it from that slant as well. I believe sometime this fall, I think October, November-ish, we will get for what won the voted on one. I don't know anything about soccer cards. Literally nothing. So my opinion is unfortunately nothing because I'm completely clueless on soccer cards. I'm not a soccer fan. I've never watched soccer. I know the names of some of the big players, but I couldn't tell you a thing about their cards. Ah, interesting toy store. When is the next Philly show? Probably not this year. As we kind of head into the fall and winter now, like September, October are kind of the last 2 months for really big shows. I don't know that there's much in November. And when usually once you get into the holidays, things kind of take some time off other than Dallas. My only big show left the rest of the year is NYCC. So I have not checked the LeBron on-card auto off the list yet. I'm kind of in a holding pattern on that because I think there's an outside chance he signs with Fanatics, and if that happens, that could tank his auto market a little bit. September 20. Yeah, it's just going to be tough for me to get down there for that with New York City Comic Con a couple weeks after that. And September, October, late September through October tend to be extremely busy for me in regards to my day job as well. October specifically. Oh, are you going to NYCC this year? I didn't realize that. Are you setting up or are you just going as an attendee? I assume the dealer wait list for NYCC is insane. What did I end up doing with the CSG CGC cards that you were debating on what to do with reholder? I haven't done anything with them yet. I did not reholder them. They are still sitting in their original slabs. So I'm probably, I think the window closed on, or the window is about to close on the reholder special. The sports card ones, they basically look the same. I'm not super concerned about that. The Marvel ones, I mean, I'm not actively going to take a Marvel card out of a blue label and move it to a black label. I gave some consideration on the X-Men set that I was working on, but I think that whole project will just get couched. So. I mean, that's the great mystery. What can a grading company do to gain more secondary market value? I don't think a grading company has figured that out yet. I would assume, to me, this is, and I've told CGC this multiple times. CGC's biggest thing it has going for it is the signature series. 100%, it's the signature series. I think eventually at some point in time they will have athletes do signature series. I don't know how much appeal there is for athlete signature series. I'm sure it'll be popular, but there's a lot of opportunity to get athlete signatures like at shows and stuff. So I always thought their niche was like the actors, actresses, artists, that sort of things. They have a Jim Lee signing coming up pretty soon. I've already been gearing up for that. So Gene pumping and dumping video games. West Palm Beach card show in November. I would assume a box of Cosmic sells for about that or more than that. I have not heard anything on the Midwest Monster. Actually, talk about that in tomorrow's video, Chris. I have a little discussion around SGC pricing. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of rumor and innuendo going around about this, but nobody knows for sure. Michael Ham says grading companies should pump and dump their own product. I typically don't vault anything. I really don't have a need to. If I was gonna vault something and it was like PC like that, I would honestly just put it in a bank safety deposit box if it was me, because I would want access to the cards. If they're my PC cards, I would want access to them to be able to display them or get a vault in my house. And a damn good insurance policy. Jim Lee is, what are you talking about? Jim Lee, the artist, famous X-Men artist. I'm not familiar with old school football. I would just check comps on graded versus raw on probably PSA and SGC and see what they do and just run the numbers. But I don't know 72 and 73 football well enough to just blindly throw something out there. There we go. Paul lurking in the chat. Paul was probably across the room making a cheeseburger or something on the grill and heard a 72 football question, tripped over 7 pieces of furniture to dive through the keyboard to answer it. Paul never felt so alive in his life. Yeah, it's all good, Michael. Yep. Gene and Ham on the same wavelengths. But yeah, Jim Lee, one of my all-time favorite artists for Marvel, is doing a CGC signing and doing it for cards. So I've already started to gear up for that. Just keep him out of sunlight is my general advice. Like, I display stuff down here in the basement, and the only window that I have in the basement, I literally have blacked out. I have stuff in front of it, so no sunlight even comes into the room at all. I've heard people also recommend using LED lights, not regular lights in the room. And the other thing that I do as well, like I don't really have much up right now. I have some random J. Scott Campbell variant covers that just literally came in from eBay that I threw up on the back wall. I rotate through the comic books that I put back there every like month or so. I just kind of get in a different phase and then I pull something else out from the boxes and throw them up there. So I don't keep anything on display for long periods of time, though I don't really have much to concern myself with light wise down here. I have not dug into Lorcana single prices perk, so that part would be tricky. I don't really know how they're going to grade yet. I sent those couple off. I have no idea how they're going to sell graded, so we'll see how all that goes. It would be pretty tough to rip a booster box right now, especially a sealed booster box. If you picked up loose packs, that's a little bit of a different story. If Gene's still in chat, he had a bunch of Lorcana singles. I don't know how those sold for him at Ships. I don't know that Ships is the right show to sell those as well. So Paul pumping up in FSU. They have not announced cost yet. I would imagine like 125, 150 is typically what it is. Busy. Ships was very busy. Kraken says they sold well. Singles sold pretty well at Ships. I don't think there is an off-centered for tomorrow. It's next week. They go, I guess maybe there is an off-center for tomorrow and I don't know about it. I suppose that's something I should probably look into. I don't believe there is an off-center tomorrow. I thought it was next week because we did one last week. Last week's off-center was the draft. So we would be off this week and then on next week, but I don't really know for sure. That's my guess. I'm on the show. I'm not involved with any of the planning. I'm just hired talent. I'm like a mercenary. I'm a hired gun. 50 comma Mickey and Elsa. Yeah, I'm sure anything Elsa would sell super fast. Later, Wayne. You can still smell the bubblegum. Can you still chew the bubblegum? Man, everyone must be bored today. There's 150 people on a Monday afternoon. What else do we want to? What have I not talked about yet that we hit on? I'm surprised no one's actually brought it up. We have not. No one mentioned anything about all the card porn nonsense. I guess we can kind of talk about that, but we'll kind of wrap things up here. If you're local to Northeast Ohio and you need Lorcana, McCracken's your guy. I would like to go over NFL quarterbacks this week. I don't know which days yet or when that video is going to go up. I haven't researched anything or even recorded it yet, but that will be. I will run through quarterback pricing at some point in time this week for sure. Ship where? Like if you're selling cards online, yeah, you want to ship in a top loader. Usually put cardboard around it in a bubble mailer. If you're sending the Comc, you want it in penny sleeve. I don't really know much about him. I know he's a former Tops guy, and people seem to like him. Beyond that, that's all I got. No, I didn't order any of it at all. Hey, Michael Son, what's up, buddy? Bull or the Clippers? Clippers gonna clip. Clippers going to clip. All right, I'm caught up on chat. See how it's done, Dustin? Take notes, buddy. 100% caught up on chat, running solo with 153 people in here. Boom. Mic drop. Do we want to talk about the card porn nonsense or not? I'm down for whatever. And we'll close out on that. Thanks, Gene. That's a fun product to rip. I don't know that I mean, I guess I'll kick things off here. What are my thoughts on the Marvel Platinum set? I want to see artwork on it. I want to see what it looks like. I am intrigued by Marvel Platinum. I still have both my Jim Brown rookies. Card porn greater than watching U.S. Open tennis. You could do. There's no guessing on 2022 masterpieces print run. You can do the math on it. Well, I mean, I assume you're talking physical versus digital print. That we don't know. But total print run, you can 100% do the math on. People have. I don't have the spreadsheet handy. I have it around here somewhere. Michael Ham says no card porn. AIH and Dan have it covered. They definitely do. Just the first domino to fall. That I guess. So I will comment on this. I guess I do feel like this is the first domino to fall. Now that people know who he is, you're already starting to see a bunch of other stuff come out of the woodwork of, oh, wait a second, I had a dealing with that particular individual that did not go well. I did not realize that was card porn. So I have a feeling the next week or so is going to be a bunch of that stuff. And I also feel like Ravel still has stuff like nuggets to drop on us. He's essentially teased that he does. So I saw him and Patrick Ryan did a IG live stream last night. I have not had a chance. I caught like the last 5 minutes of it. So I have not had a chance to watch that yet, but that probably has the freshest information on it in regards to kind of what this means for the game used market and the card porn nonsense and all that. But that is the stage that we are now in is people coming out of the woodwork with stories about this guy now that people know that he is card porn and essentially saying like, oh, that guy scammed me, or he did this other thing, or he did these other 5 things, or these 4 things, or whatever. So, but as Ham said, AIH and Dan will probably be all over it. So I'll talk about it here and there, but I'm not going to like run to make a video on it. It's just kind of not my style of stuff. Will Topps do an online drop of Logo Fractor? I don't think so. They typically don't. I don't believe they. Someone correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't believe they sold Logo Fractor online last year. I think it's an MLB store exclusive. Ships was good. Ships was very, very busy. Yeah, he was part of that. Yeah, I just want to see what it looks like. I haven't seen the sell sheet on it yet. I want to see what the artwork looks like and what the card design looks like. It feels like it's going to be Marvel Vibranium 2.0, and it's going to be very parallel based. So very modern sports cardy. It feels like a very modern sports card set. Box prices are reasonable enough-ish at the moment. I think they're around 200. Someone can correct me if I'm wrong on that one. I am intrigued. I am intrigued. I have not ordered any yet. I have not spent any money on it yet. The only current Marvel product I have pre-ordered is the X-Men versus Avengers Allegiant set, I think it's called. And the only reason I jumped on that is because I'm a big X-Men guy, so I wanted some boxes of that to open. So thank you. Thank you. No, I just try to go live whenever I can. I don't do it often enough. This was just I'm sitting around on a Monday afternoon. It's a holiday. I am off work. I did not post a video today, so let's go live for a little bit. I will formally be live every other week with Steve and Dustin on Off Centered. I think that's usually Tuesday or Wednesday nights. These are things I should probably know since I'm technically a member of the cast now. So that'll be every other week. And then usually lives, like solo lives like this, are very, very random. I don't know if anyone's actually collecting Disney Lorcana. I think everyone's just flipping Disney Lorcana. Oh, they did sell it online last year? I have no memory of that. Platinum is supposed to be like the hockey set. I'll have to look up Platinum Hockey and see how it looks. Where'd you get your boxes at? Online or through someone local? That's wild. Maybe they'll put them up this year. If they do, they'll sell out instantly. Has Ziggy been suspended from the fantasy league yet? You guys should drug test before the season. Not to my knowledge. I actually play Ziggy week 1, so. Yeah, I haven't heard anything on the next Marvel Beginning set. Friend in Canada. Yeah, Canada's always wild with their Marvel pre-order stuff. I don't think Jeff Wilson took Ritter. I think there was jokes about that during the draft. He did get some Falcons on his team, for sure. I don't think he took Ritter. All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, we are caught up on chat. And we will wrap it up there. Jeff asks, who will be the face of the NBA? Probably Giannis / Luka, depending on where they end up, especially if Giannis leaves the Bucks. Would be my guess. Tomorrow, gem rate breakdown. So lots of grading chat on tomorrow's video. Record-breaking month in August. And then I don't know what else for the rest of the week. I have, well, there'll be a quarterback video at some point in time. And I have an idea for another video bouncing around in my head. And then whatever mysteriously pops up. Everyone have a great rest of your holiday. We will catch you boys and girls tomorrow. Peace.